Hey guys, Dotarian here, back with another Ravenswatch run. So today we're going to be playing GEPETTO. Now I am still trying to play this character, trying to work out this character. He is a very interesting character as he puts down dummies, and those dummies will attack on his behalf, and he has skills to interact with those dummies as well. So his basic attack, he has a hammer, he uses the hammer to attack. And with his special trait, we're going to pick up either Dummy Ball or Unstable Core. Now with Dummy Ball it will make it so that he throws a bomb and that bomb will summon a dummy, whereas Unstable Core makes it so that the dummies have a chance to explode. I don't really like that talent, so I'm going to go with the Dummy Ball. I think having the idea of these dummies, we want to try and steer into the dummies, the special trait of this particular character. Now I'm doing this particular event to pick up the money in the daytime. It's easier to do this event in the daytime because the pigs will explode. So essentially we want to try and kill the pigs as quickly as possible. Okay, and so now we're going to pick up the money, throw a bomb here to help kill the money stash a little bit quicker. And right now we are playing on the Twilight difficulty, meaning that there are corrupted enemies. Corrupted enemies are ones that are colored in black and red, and they are slightly more challenging. They do a lot more damage and also have a little bit more health as well. So essentially with GEPETTO, he has a good synergy with the dummies where he can put down the dummies, he can hit the dummies to heal them, and he can use his power move, his like uppercut, to push the dummies into enemies, dealing damage. And his defensive ability is to give a shield, but it does have quite a long cooldown, so it's not something you can spam. And by holding down the special as well, you can extend the range that he'll chuck the bomb as well. Now here's a treasure, and with the treasure, I like going for damage objects. So we either have Eternal Rose or Vajra, and I took Vajra. Now with our talent as well, we have Fireworks or we have Clockwork Medicine, which is healing. Fireworks makes it so that every time the dummies regain some health back, they'll shoot a rocket. And because it's an epic quest, I will pick up that one. But also it, I guess, allows me to have an excuse to hit the dummies as well, to heal them. That way they will shoot a rocket out more often. So what I am finding nowadays is, as I've played this game quite often, and I'm getting a little bit more experience in it, I find it's quite good to go for the events early. Going for the events early means that you don't double up on certain quests, because there are certain cases where you have to traverse the map and clear certain objectives. Sometimes if you don't do the event, it'll make you go to certain places again. Sorry, if you've already been to that place before, it'll make you do that event again. Now, those rockets that came out was my special trait. So essentially, every time I hit my dummies, I will heal the dummies a little bit. And they'll kind of home a missile towards the closest enemy. I find thematically GEPETTO is really cool. Technically, GEPETTO is a fairy tale character, and so having this idea that GEPETTO is putting down these characters, putting down these dummies and interacting with these dummies to fight, I think is a really cool concept. Now by default, Geppetto gets to put down 3 dummies. You can extend the amount of dummies he's able to put down later on with different talents and things like that. Actually, talents is probably the only way. But essentially, you can increase the max number of max number of dummies up to 4. And then also with the ultimate, he has a mecha puppet, and the mecha puppet also allows him to get another puppet as well. So there are ways of getting additional puppets whereby you have the 4 dummies that you can put down, so 1 extra with a talent, and then you have the mecha puppet that you can get as well. And then with the ultimate extra charge, so you can get a legendary object that will allow you to get an additional talent. Sorry, not an additional talent, additional ultimate charge. So you can have 2 mecha puppets out at the same time. Essentially making it so that you'll have 6 puppets out. And with the 6 puppets out, the puppets are also good in that they will draw enemy focus as well. So it's kind of like a form of taunt in a way. And in that respects, it's a form of defense as well. Now here, I really like pogo hoppers. So I'm going to pick up pogo hoppers. That makes it so that the dummies will move. So the dummies will move to the closest enemy to attack. This will make it so that the dummies can move further. So if it kind of saves you having to sort of reposition your dummies in a way, because the dummies are able to move further. So as I was saying, with the dummies can stack damage, and so that makes it really good. One thing that I also find really useful is that the dummies are able to heal, like overheal, and so hitting the dummies when they're on full health will still contribute to the rocket trait that they have. So I think that's very useful as well. Okay, took up quite a bit of damage there, but that's okay. We need to try and stop taking hits. And because the dummies are able to tank damage, they're also able to deal a lot of damage if you spec into them as well. Now we have Swan Cloak, Water of Life, or Vorpal Blade, and I'll take Swan Cloak for a little bit of defense and a bit of healing. Every time I dash, I can heal back the damage I've taken by 50% within that time. So Geppetto is one of those characters where you don't have to spec too heavily into attack as much as other characters. Other characters are solely more reliant on their own damage and skills, but Geppetto is much more reliant on his dummies if you spec into that direction. So with Geppetto, you can essentially get a little bit more defense, and the dummies will do a lot of damage if you have traits that stack the amount of dummies you have, or perhaps increase their attack speed, or increase, like for example, the homing rockets, for example. As well as Geppetto also has a trait where the dummies can shoot lasers every time you use a defensive skill as well. So with Geppetto, essentially building a little bit more defensive is a form of damage in a way. Yeah, as I was saying, with other characters, you kind of have to build a little bit more attack damage on the character themselves. Geppetto, you can kind of take other types of damage traits, and those damage traits will stack like it'll be accumulative and essentially build up damage in a way. So you can see how quickly I took down the boss with only 3 dummies. Now here we have... yeah, so this is the ultimate charge that I spoke about before. Essentially, if we choose the Mecha Puppet as our ultimate at level 5, we have the option to summon a second dummy. And that allows us to stack a lot of damage in one go. It's especially good for like boss fights and single targets because the dummies for the mech puppets do last a long time as well. So the mech puppet itself, when I summon it, you'll see that it is like a fully autonomous robot that will follow you around, and it can move around by itself. It's not stationary. In a sense, you can reposition it as well because it will interact much like your other dummy talents as well. Now here we'll get Thunderstone, which is special gains an extra charge. This allows me to push out 2 bombs, essentially summoning 2 dummies, which I find is really cool. With the limit, I currently have a limit of 3, so I can put out 2 bombs quickly in quick succession and then put out a 3rd dummy, and that will have my 3 dummies in one go, allowing me to push a lot of damage in one go. Now I do have to be careful of these trees because these trees do quite a lot of damage, especially to the dummies because the dummies have quite a low health pool. Okay, so I have a little bit of gold saved up, so I can choose to spend it. I'm going to pick up this health, and then we'll move on to the next event. So I'm just going to move up to the top, see what's up here. And we see it's a bunch of gold, so I think we'll fight this one out. Just have to be careful here because there are a lot of enemies. But thankfully, yeah, we do have the dummies to kind of fight for us. And I think one of the things that I do love most about this particular character is that the dummies sort of act as a barrier to damage as well. They can tank hits for you, especially if the hits aren't like piercing, if they can't pierce through things. The dummies can get in the way and they can take quite a lot of hits as well. Here we found a curse key. We just need to clear out these guys. Okay, so this time we're actually getting overclock, and overclock, what that does is it will make the dummies attack faster and move faster for a short period of time. This is actually my first time trying overclock. I haven't tried it yet, so this will give me 2 charges of overclock, making it so that if I can keep my dummies up for quite a while, I can actually spam the overclock. Now here we're going to get magic mirror and silver bullets. So the magic mirror will copy one of my objects, and you can see on the left it's copied. There's a 2 under the Vajra item, meaning that it's copied 2 of that particular item. I also picked up a few talent upgrades as well, and silver bullets will give me 5 extra damage, meaning that I'll get 5% more damage. So the Vajra item, again, what it does is it allows me to deal 40 damage every time I dash. So essentially I can use dash as an offensive tool as well to deal an extra bit of damage. Now you can see how much damage I'm able to churn out just by smacking my dummies and proccing the homing rockets. Even though the homing rockets itself doesn't do a lot of damage, if I have 3 of them, hitting them consecutively will just stack up the number of rockets that I can build up. So I think that's really cool. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to pick up the curse. We have Bloody Mary's Mirror. So what that does is any armor that I get will be converted into damage. So if for example, I get a consumable that gives me 5 armor, that 5 armor will now become 5 damage instead. Obviously, the downside is that I don't get the armor, but I will be dealing more damage. So essentially, it's like the best defense is a good offense, right? Okay, better dodge that hit. Okay, took quite a bit of damage there. Okay, and then now to get this cursed object, we have special deals 20% more damage. So essentially my bomb will deal a little bit more damage, and we're going to move on to the next event. Now we do have 2 minutes and we've only explored like half the map, but that's okay. We are quite strong, I feel. Now I don't like this wishing well, so I'm going to skip that event. And I also don't like this event either, so I'm going to skip that one. We'll see what's on the right hand side. Okay, so we do have a Grimoire event here. I'm just going to quickly go back to base just to see if I can get any extra upgrades. But with 58 gold, it doesn't seem likely, so I think we'll go back. I think I didn't look at my gold there, so I didn't realize how much gold we had, but we'll start this event now. With 1 minute, hopefully we can sort out this event. Okay, we'll get the heal and be careful not to stay too long in the poison. Okay, 23 seconds. And here I like picking up the random talent upgrades. We got 4 talent upgrades, meaning that we got 2 of our talents to legendary. And that's the equivalent of about 600 gold, which is much more than what we would have gotten from that particular event itself, where we only get 400. Okay, finally here we're going to go for the boss. Okay. Now one thing that I do like doing is I like kind of stacking my damage. So I don't like using my resources too much until I clear this boss. So what I would usually do is try to save up the boss for the vulnerable phase where the boss okay, here I'm going to turn on my ultimate as well, and essentially the dummies will spin around dealing their damage. And you can see that we did chunk the boss quite a lot there. Now, I reckon if we actually had a 4th dummy with the trait, we could have actually killed the boss at that point in time. Okay, one last one. Great, there we go. And in the first chapter as well, out of our 4 lives, we still have our 4 lives left. We didn't use any of our lives, which is a really good bonus as well. Okay, so now we're on the 2nd chapter. Okay, and I'm actually enjoying these rockets a lot more than I thought I would. I thought the rockets were doing a lot of, like, little bits of damage, but I realized that it's actually a lot more damage than I realized. And so, yeah, I'm actually changing my mind about how I feel about this particular trait. I thought it was bad, but I'm actually surprised at how good it is. Oh, okay. Wow, these birds deal a lot of damage. Alright, so we pick up the experience here, and then we're going to move down. Now, I am close to level 6 and a full heal, so I do have to be careful not to die before I get that full heal. And here we're going to move down to the Grimoire spot. We're just going to unlock the portal, but not actually engage with the portal yet. Because I kind of like saving this Grimoire event until later. Okay, I thought that would give us the full heal, but it doesn't look like that. We'll just get the full heal from this instead, and we'll just move on to the next spot. Now, I do see the money spot down below, so actually, hang on. We can get this for free, so we'll pick that up for free and just move on to the next spot. So yeah, so the money spot that we're going to here. And it's a bunch of birds, which I hate dealing with, but that's okay. Okay, and then we have some extra there. And we have a talent. We have Nailing Strike or Dummy Vacuum. Dummies hit by special are sucked in and deal 60% of power. Okay, that's free gold that we can pick up. So we have Nailing Strike as our next trait. or we have dummy vacuum. Now, because we are focusing a lot more on healing the dummies and throwing out bombs, I do feel like using the dummy vacuum is better, because that will engage in the specials a lot more. Okay, so here we've actually unlocked the event as well, and we will engage in the event a little bit later, but I will do it once I gain a little bit more power. Now, I've played this game enough to know that I do have a sort of route in my head. I kind of try to do the events later on. In the first chapter, I try to do the event early on, but this particular chapter doesn't make me collect stuff, which is why I engaged in this particular event later on once I'm a little bit more powerful. And especially because the Cyclops is quite tanky, I do want to get a lot more damage to help deal with that. Now, what I'm doing here is, this is a green grimoire event, and the green grimoire event will give me 2 talent upgrades. And because I have 2 purple talents, which will be converted to legendaries, those 2 random talents will become legendary talents after I finish this particular event. So my thought process here is, this particular event gives me 150 gold. Well, by converting 2 legendary talents, this actually gives me 400 gold. And then now we're going to pick up the dummy vacuum. So essentially we have 4 legendary talents at the moment, and 1 epic. Okay, now we're going to move down here and pick up the treasure. Okay, here we have special deals 20% more damage. So you can see on the left hand side I have 3 Jack of Hearts giving me... Is that Jack of Hearts or Diamonds? So whatever it is, it's giving me 60% extra damage on my bombs, and I've got 2 charges of them, meaning that I can kind of drop 2 and that will deal quite a lot of damage as well. Okay. Yeah, we'll take another Jack of Diamonds. So now we're dealing 80% damage with our bombs. Taking quite a bit of damage here. I am quite low in health, so I gotta try and stay alive. Couldn't dodge that thunderbolt in time. Okay. Next treasure we have Ogre Blood. Now this is one of my favorite items in the game, even though I think it's not that special. Especially if you don't get a good boost in the game, you don't get much damage on this particular item. Because currently, with 1 Ogre Blood, I have 20 Vitality, and you get 1 damage per 10 Vitality. So currently, this item's only giving me 2 damage at the moment. But I have seen cases where this particular item can give us a lot of damage. So that's why I do enjoy this particular item. It's just that for GEPETTO and for this particular build, essentially the Ogre Blood isn't doing that much damage for us, but nevertheless, I always enjoy getting the Ogre Blood anyway. Here we got Clockwork Medicine or Flux Capacitor. So the first one is a heal when the dummies get hit by the special, and because we are leaning towards the special and the dummies, and I think the regen will also contribute to when they heal as well, shooting the rockets out as well. Essentially, I think that synergy is too hard to turn down. Okay. Now see what's on the left-hand side. So the way that the map is structured, as far as my experience goes, is close to where you spawn, wherever it is on the map, you essentially have quite a lot of green events. Green events meaning that they're like easier events to do. The monsters there aren't as tough. And then as you venture much further out from where you start, essentially those events become much harder. So you get the cursed events, which are in red, and you get the yellow events, which I guess I call them legendary events, but these events are not as difficult as the cursed ones. The cursed ones tend to be quite difficult because they have like these crabs, for example, and these crabs need to take a lot of damage and proc their stagger bar before they die, essentially. So they don't normally take damage until they're flipped upside down. Alright, now we have the ultimate cooldown, and yeah, so because we got 2 charges of the ultimate, I'm going to take that one. Also getting a 20% cooldown on the ultimate I think is really handy. And I'll use my ultimate here because these monsters are quite tough. Okay, so we'll deal with that guy. And now we do have 5.5 minutes left, so we do have time to go to the other Grimoire event, but also to spend our gold, because we do have quite a lot of gold stacked up at the moment. Okay, so that's a curse key event. We didn't get the curse key, so we'll just move on. And we'll move on to the next zone. Like the next area, sorry. Okay, we got a full heal here. Okay, we got the heal. Again, then this is a well, which I don't really care about too much. I think if we stack enough gold, we can spend a little bit of money at the well. But the well essentially just gives you another item. I don't generally find it's worth it. I think it's better to upgrade all of your talents first before you go for the world, but that's just me personally. Perhaps there'll be some min-maxer out there who finds out that it's actually worth getting the consumables and the items more than the spending the money on the talents, but I think it also depends on the talent that you get as well. I think I was taking a bit too much damage, so I'm just gonna get out of there. I don't think it's worth it at this point. If we do want to finish that event, we can come back later on. Now here we have the extra gold. So we're quickly going around just to see what else is out there before we decide on doing the event. But I think I'm quickly going to unlock the grimoire just so we have a portal to port to. Okay, so we got the armor and silver bullets. Now I picked up the armor because we have the legendary item which turns our armor into a talent. Sorry, not our armor into a talent, our armor into damage. And so currently we're getting 5 damage from that particular item. Okay, we got a full heal there as well. Large family or nailing strike. Yeah, so this is the one I was talking about. We have another trait, so essentially we can get 4 dummies out now. Okay, so here I'm going to use the ultimate, and these will just shred down the Cyclops. Yeah, you can see how much damage I'm doing just by that. Now we just picked up the best item in the game. We got Excalibur. And so our damage went up from like 23 up to 63 now. So we're doing a lot of damage. Okay, so we picked up some vitality as well. Now we're going to finish the grimoire to finish this off. So essentially we have 63.5 damage. And with our grimoire event, we're going to get 3 random talent upgrades that will increase our talents from epic to legendary, essentially giving us an extra 30 damage, 30% more damage with our Excalibur item, which is a huge damage upgrade. Okay, we got Excalibur, 3 random talent upgrades, bang, and now we have 93.5% damage. And we're gonna pick up the extra health, increasing to 94.5. And we have 40 seconds left. Not much we can do with 40 seconds left on the clock. Yeah, okay, so with with say 15 seconds, we're going to try and make the health on the bottom right there. Don't even think we'll get there on time, but that's okay. I reckon we are pretty damn strong as we are right now. With 4 dummies out and using an ultimate, I reckon we can demolish a boss quite easily. Now you can see the armor, the shield on the boss at the moment. Essentially, the boss has damage resistance. I believe it's like half damage or something. I'm not too sure on the exact number, but essentially the boss takes much less damage. And so if the boss has 2 shields, they're going to take like 25% less damage. Sorry, not 25, 75% less damage, which is quite a huge damage reduction. So essentially, once the boss is out of that phase, there's another phase where, yeah, so they spawn these little heads and you have to kill the heads as quickly as you can. Once the heads have been killed, then the boss will be in a vulnerable state. And in the vulnerable state, the boss doesn't have any shielding. So you can see when the boss spawns these little heads, it has the 2 shields, essentially hugely diminishing the amount of damage we're able to do. Okay, so here I'm going to put down all our dummies, and then we're going to activate the ultimate. And you can see how easily we took down the boss just with our 4 dummies spiraling around us. Alright, that was my round of GEPETTO. If you enjoyed this video, please drop me a like down below. And as always, have an awesome day. Bye for now.